Hare Krishna, Jai Jagannath. Dear diagnosis, you put a nice question. Your question is that why are sins sinful? Surely some sins offend Lord Krishna. But are all sins bad for this reason? Or are some sins bad because they are likely to tie us to material life? Or are both true? These are your question. Well, I would have given you a long answer, but as initiation giving ceremony in our ashram is going to take place on forthcoming 8th July, and about 11 boys and girls are going to be initiated, and I have to chant rounds of the holy name for each of them, and I have to remain on fast in the right mood for their cause. That's why I would prefer to give you a possibly short answer. Hope that will convince you. Okay, Hare Krishna. Let us first see what does the word sin means. If we go to the essence of Shastra, after the great Vyasadeva has compiled, he had written Vedas prior to Vyasadeva. Veda was in an unwritten form. It was remembered from generation to generation. That is why the other name of Veda is Shruti. But realizing that the short, insignificant memory of the forthcoming, people of the forthcoming Kali Yuga, Vyasa has compiled Veda. He had written Veda. That was the written expression of Veda. Further, he classified Vedas into 4 different divisions.
Thus, Vyasadeva the Great, for the first time in the annals of human history, presented Veda in written form in 4 different kinds, that is Yajur Veda, Rug Veda, Atharva Veda, and Sham Veda. In order to make the inner meaning of the description of these 4 Vedas, he has further classified the same into 4 different divisions, that is Brahmana, Aranyaka, Samhita, and Upanishads. Upanishads are popularly called Vedanta. Even after such vivid explanations in different kinds, still the great Vyasadeva was doubtful whether the man of Kali Yuga could understand the inner purport of the description of Veda. That is why he has compiled and presented in written form the great Mahabharata, which is otherwise known as Pancham Veda or Fifth Veda.
Then he has written Mahabharata, where Srimad Bhagavad Gita was also narrated. That was called Fifth Veda. He had written 108 Upanishads. Those are the essence of Vedas. Then Ashtadasa Purana, 18 Puranas. Puranas like Skanda Purana is so big, you may be scared whether in one lifetime you can go through its contents or not. He had written 18 Puranas. He was not satisfied even then. Then, by the causeless mercy of his great guru, Narad Muni, he has realized that anything minus description, minus singing the song of the glories of the pastime of Krishna, the nectarian pastimes of Krishna, with the lone, well-wishing friend of every living entity, the supreme well-wishing friend. Being so inspired, he had written Srimad Bhagavatam that you are going through now. When he had written all these things, once a spectacular number of sages and seers approached him and they put the question, "Oh great Vyasadeva, you have written so much of things, but we are a bit scared how the people of Kali Yuga, those who have almost no memory power, highly, very, very insignificant memory power, with such duration, such small, short duration of lifetime, with polluted intelligence, almost they lacked wisdom and the potency of true perception. How they can afford their time to go through all these things? Upon hearing these suggestions, yes, Vyasamuni replied, "My dear suggestions, yes, what I had written, I had only written two sentences." So others are surprised, two sentences? Now yes. Now which two sentences? Vyasadeva has replied, Paropakaraaya dharmaya papaya parapidaya. To cause welfare to others is dharma, and to cause pain, you may say in English, torture, distress, misery, whatsoever way you may put, to others is sin. I have written only this much. To cause welfare to others is dharma, and to cause harm to others, speaking in a very short language in English, is sin. How to understand the inner meaning of this? Suppose an intoxicated young man, you can see in Kali Yuga, there are many illicit sex are going on. When the matter was brought to the notice of the judge in a court, judicial court, so the accused boy or girl or man and woman used to be acquitted when they say we are having sex in our own consent, mutual consent. So on the basis of that, they used to be acquitted. Let us examine where the sin lies. Suppose a boy indulge in illicit sex with a girl. If you look into science, if you look deep into the yoga science, it has been clearly explained that the unique opportunity a conditioned soul gets after assuming the human form, and the first and foremost duty of such conditioned soul is to maintain the purity of the body. purity of the body means for a girl, when she will undergo Vedic marriage ceremony, and the sacred marriage takes place with the groom. For a bride to a groom, it is solemnized. Then they are allowed to have sex, not like animals, but for the purpose of honoring the procreation concept and to have a son child with maintenance of the purity, so that the offspring can be an elevated soul to enlighten whoever he comes across, makes the people conscious of the real purpose of life. That is why a girl is supposed to engage in sex, to have the semen of the opposite sex of her husband only, that too not recklessly for sensual pleasure. We'll come to that topic later on, but this is. But once that girl is engaged in illicit sex, or let us forget the word illicit, sex with others, more than one, with mutual consent, then ignorance is not an excuse. All her bodily purity is gone. Such a condition shows to take advantage of the unique opportunity of life becomes very, very difficult. Examples are there, even they're limited, but they're very rare. So the male member who ignorantly caused it, he is also responsible for this. So out of ignorance, the girl harmed herself, and her male partner has also harmed the girl. So what is papa or sin? To harm others. If somebody argue, well, I am not engaged in illicit sex, but I am drinking alcohol, and you know, I'm not I'm not causing any harm to any girl body. So those people are engaged in homosex and others, and by their own, they also used to derive sensual pleasure in this way. They may argue that we are not harming anyone. No, that is wrong. They go against the nature, and because they go against the nature and behave like animals, you may say a royal sophistication of the animality. So the science of karma says, they goes to very dangerous abominable species, low animal species. On the surface they are not aware, but it happens to them. So such conduct harm both of them, and both of them are responsible to harm each other out of ignorance. And even if a man say, I'm not engaged with anybody, and I am whatever doing it to my in my own hand and all that, then he's also ignorant and he's wrong. Because the purity of the soul always remain at its origin state of purity. It cannot be touched by any materialistic reaction. But once it comes in contact with illusory energy of the Lord because of the particular soul's wrong choice, so undergo he travels through various species of life. In that process, you may say the theory of evolution or whatever, by the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord Krishna, who directs nature to provide them human form. So, having human form, getting himself engaged even without any partner by his own, so that bewildered soul is harming the pure state of soul.
When I say harming his own soul, it has to be understood in proper way. Well, soul cannot be harmed because soul always remains at its original purest state, be whatever the materialistic activities. But then why I'm saying harming his own soul? In this sense, becoming the victim of the law of karma primarily because of one's foul desire or wrong choice to uh, establish lordship over the material nature of Krishna. So the soul undergoes the transmigration process, remaining in various species of life. In this way, when he comes back to human species to get the opportunity to realize the truth about himself and to be delivered, this is the arrangement of providence, arrangement of Krishna for those souls assume the human form of life. So at that state, even if somebody like an intoxicated man thinks in a wrong way, then definitely and act accordingly, that definitely harm to not only his gross physical body, also to his or her subtle physical body that was comprising of mind, intelligence, and ego. So, because of this vitiated state of wrong thinking, he has to face the reaction of his such conduct and diminishes his level of evolution further down from human species in his next life to other lower species of life. In this way, the soul is harmed in the sense soul's opportunity to be delivered from the dreadful clutch of materialistic existence to the unending, spiritual, blissful, eternal, transcendental world is harmed. In that sense, it has to be understood that harming his own soul.
I mean to himself. And he is indirectly encouraging the like-minded people to do so. So it is his harming to his own soul. He is harming to the causeless mercy, the infinitely supreme kind-hearted absolute Lord Krishna gives him to be delivered from the dreadful clutch. So any such conduct is harming something. And what harms others? A bewildered soul harms the pure state of soul, self-harming process. We may say self-harming, how it can be others. You're not harming others. Others, what does it mean here? What is the concept? Try to realize. To harm his own self in the sense of a bewildered soul harming the true state of that soul, which is not contaminated, cannot be contaminated, but would be bewildered. So that indirectly cause impact on others. There is science called mental telepathy. Even if he sees no one is seeing me, what I am doing, but by conducting himself in such mood, the vitiated thought vibrates and affect some other builder soul without the knowledge of any of them. That is why it is harming others also. There are many things which we cannot realize on surface, but those are the signs of truth. That's why it is said to chant during dawn and dusk is the best time, especially Brahma Muhurta, say by 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. because the world is sleeping. Because the world is sleeping in the sense when people bodily take rest, their thought, vicious thought for materialistic activities doesn't take place. But once they come to the active world, after in the morning they gets up, then the collective vicious thoughts vibrates and that cause harm even a person to chant with concentration. And a person who chants with concentration may say that no, I am not disturbed. So it is wrong. No, he is untruth. He is not disturbed because he chanted. And by the mercy of the recitation of the holy name, he is placed at a level where he is not getting disturbed. But without seeing the truth, if he says, no, I am not disturbed, let them think whatever they like. So he said, speaking lie because of ignorance. It is said. So, even if somebody thinks to drink alcohol, Suppose four regulative principles Srila Prabhupada has introduced. No illicit sex, no gambling. Somebody may be disturbed hearing gambling. They say, how are we harming in gambling? No, you are harming. Suppose you are buying a lottery ticket. There are many people who are hopeful. They also bought lottery ticket. They had the hope to win the prize. But suppose you will win the prize. Then your winning prize has caused frustration to many. That way they are harmed, apparently and inwardly. And what Shastra say, what Vyasa say, to harm other is sinful. And to cause welfare others is dharma. Then you can go from level to level. Welfare starts with providing food to the hungry masses. Devotee provide prasadam because that help for the purification of consciousness. Anyway, to feed hunger, to establish hospitals for the free treatment of the poor, to help neighbors coming at that difficult time, and to donate in charity for a public cause. So these are also welfare. But if you go deep to, the real welfare lies with to cause welfare to a soul. That is why the great Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada has told, to deliver one single individual soul from the dreadful clutch of Maya is uncountable trillions of times superior and nobler a job than to establish countless crores of hospitals for the free treatment of human beings and animals. This makes sense. If you establish 100 very good hospitals in US, you may become the president of USA. You gain public support. The appreciation and not appreciations of public, they function within the horizon of a limited material so-called reasoning without being aware that we are soul and this human life brings us, human species of life brings us the unique opportunity to be delivered and to go to the really unending, ever-enhancing, nectarian, transcendent, blissful world, because we are blissful by nature, being the spark of the spiritual son Krishna, being the fragmental person. So if you look ignorantly or knowingly, knowingly it is certainly offensive, but mostly the sinful activity are taking place ignorantly. Suppose somebody, once I was in US, even in India, like anything, somebody bought some beef or something from department store. So I had gone to buy some rice. No, not me. A devotee had gone to, I accompanied devotee to buy something. So when we found, but that beef the lady bought, it didn't look like beef. We asked, what is that? He said, beef. I said, oh God, you are taking this. You know how much pain is caused to an innocent species of life, that to mother cow in the slaughterhouse. And I don't realize I am taking in this shape when it is nicely packed, look nice and everything. So her argument says that he doesn't see how it is a torturous brutality. But her impression may be whatever, truth is truth. The torturous brutality was shown towards Madhaka or for that matter any species of life. And ignorantly sharing it by buying or whatever is harming the self as well as harming others those who share this activity. So if you look in the materialistic world, somebody is laughing at the cost of someone's laugh, someone else's laugh. That means when someone is laughing, more than one are crying. So to cause cry to others, fear to others, torture to others is sin in the language of Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva said, I have not written anything, I have only written this much. I have explained it in detail. So they suggest, oh, so voluminous books. It may take lives and lives to go through. No, why? I have written only two sentences. To cause welfare is dharma, and to cause harm is sinful conduct. Papa. Papa means sin. So, and these are offense against Krishna. Because Krishna, the supreme absolute Lord, is a supreme well-wishing friend. He wants the souls should be delivered from the dreadful materialistic nations. But if someone conduct not only harm him, but harms knowingly or unknowingly, mostly unknowingly, to many. So this is an offense against Krishna because in Krishna dictionary only welfare is there. Even apparently speaking, if somebody undergo hellish punishment, that is a welfare scheme so that his karma gets neutralized and he come back to once again to the normal state from where he can rise up and up. Krishna encouraged from within as super soul, resides in everyone heart as Chaitanya Guru. Then he manifests himself in form of Guru, selecting a proper jiva soul as the medium to guide others without any motive but just to help, the real help. So when out of ignorance this brutality takes place, the harm takes place, that also an offense against Krishna. So this way, sinful conduct of any kind of whatever categories, in a materialistic world we may argue in the so-called court, for matter killing animals is not considered to be a sin. Perhaps they feel there is no soul, I don't know. I remember long back, there's a news that in USA and in Germany, that time Federal Republic of Germany, milk products were so much in excess that say Ronald Reagan was the president of USA and there was somebody as the chancellor of Germany, they have ordered to slay 1 million mother cows in both these countries. I mean, that means 2 million. 1 million here and 1 million there. Perhaps they did it because they didn't realize how it is as sinful conduct. Because the concept of life confined to the human form, the form is itself is a flesh and bone. Souls they do have flesh and bone. But we can't see the pain and pleasure in others because we are overpowered by the demoniac so-called palatable taste to tongue with the argument that body needs 3,000 calories of food and all that. But by that misthinking, we can stop the reaction of karma. It is impossible. In material world, no court can set you free. Here they may say, may make somebody acquitted, but there is no chance because the law of karma neutrally acts. I think, my dear diagnosis, this much help you to understand. And with your permission, I remain because I have to chant so many rounds for those souls, those will be initiated. However, speaking in short, that any conduct that is performed without Krishna consciousness is sin and causing sin to the self automatically adversely affects some other also. So that means harming others is sin, as Vyasadeva has said, and conducting anything in the right proper mood of Krishna consciousness is causing welfare to the self as well as to others. For example, having sex under the regulative principles framed in Shastra, undergoing Dasavidha Sanskara Kriya for the sole purpose to have a Krishna conscious child is not sin. Rather, it can be considered as an welfare activities. Similarly, intoxication, drinking alcohol or drugs that kills one's own reasoning power and makes one totally incapable for proper understanding of things, although apparently present such alcoholic or a drug addicted man to be very broad under the influence of illusory energy, but there is no broadness, it is sheer ignorance. And to explain with practical demonstration in a Krishna consciousness mood, soul Krishna consciousness mood, to a serious seeker of truth, solely for with Krishna conscious mood, is also an welfare activities. Although this can be in a very, negligible case, wherever such emergency has arisen. Similarly, as I explained, that four pillars of sinful activities, as Prabhupada has presented: no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, and no meat eating, etc. These are all the source of sinful activities. By such activities that encourage others should mean that to harm others. So one may argue, how can one eat meat in a Krishna consciousness mood? No one is advising to eat meat, because that is a practical demonstration of sinful activities. Even drinking alcohol can take place in a very, 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 very rare case, provided if one observe a serious seeker of truth is keen to know how it is harming. So one cannot take alcohol by himself, but already who is an alcoholic, he can allow him to take alcohol and then take to a government hospitals and show him how it helps, how it harms his reasoning power, his perception ability. So that is a harm, and by such conduct, wherein his other associates are encouraged to follow him, are also harmed in that way, it is harm to others. So, speaking in short, anything you do with a proper Krishna consciousness mood to please the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is the real well-wishing friends of every living entities, is not sinful activities, but without conducting anything without Krishna consciousness is bound to be sinful activities. So, sin, when I explain in my above presentation also, can help you to properly understand. I hope that. Hare Krishna, Jai Jagannath, Jai Srila Gurudev, Jai Srila Prabhupada.